First contact and cultural shock. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before Captain Ilara Jensen as she stood on the bridge of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. Her dark eyes scanned the unfamiliar star system, a mixture of excitement and apprehension coursing through her veins. This was humanity's first venture beyond their solar system, made possible by the recent discovery of faster-than-light travel. Captain, we're picking up an anomalous reading, Lieutenant Ravi Patel announced from his station. It appears to be artificial in origin. Ilara's heart raced. On screen, Lieutenant. The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a massive structure floating in the inky blackness of space. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a sprawling, organic-looking station that seemed to pulse with an inner light. "My God," Ilara whispered. "We've done it. We've made first contact." As the Horizon approached the alien structure, a sudden burst of energy enveloped the ship. Alarms blared, and the crew braced themselves for impact. But instead of destruction, they found themselves being pulled towards the station. "It's some kind of tractor beam," Chief Engineer Zhou Chen called out. "I can't break us free." Ilara gripped her command chair. "All hands, prepare for potential hostile contact. This is not a drill." The Horizon was gently guided into a cavernous docking bay within the alien station. As the ship settled, an eerie silence fell over the crew. Ilara stood, straightening her uniform. "Senior officers with me," she ordered. "Let's go meet our hosts." As the airlock hissed open, Ilara led her team onto the alien station. The atmosphere was breathable, but there was an odd, sweet scent in the air. The walls seemed to shimmer and shift as if they were alive. Suddenly, a group of beings appeared before them. They were tall, willowy creatures with iridescent skin and large, multifaceted eyes. Their bodies seemed to flow like water as they moved. One of the aliens stepped forward, its body rippling with what Ilara hoped was a peaceful gesture. It opened what appeared to be a mouth, but instead of words, a series of musical tones emanated from it. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's linguist, activated her universal translator. The device hummed, struggling to process the alien language. "Greetings, beings of solid form," the translator finally sputtered out. "We are the Harmonians. Welcome to the Nexus of Convergence." Ilara took a deep breath and stepped forward. "I am Captain Ilara Jensen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge." The Harmonian's body shimmered, its colors shifting in a mesmerizing pattern. "Peace is music to our essence. Come, let us share melodies." As the human crew followed their alien hosts deeper into the station, they were struck by the sheer alienness of their surroundings. The corridors seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting like living tissue. Lights pulsed in rhythmic patterns, and soft, otherworldly music seemed to emanate from the very walls. Dr. Tanaka worked furiously to improve the translation algorithms, her fingers flying over her datapad. "Captain," she whispered, "I believe their entire language is based on musical tones and color variations. It's unlike anything we've ever encountered." Ilara nodded, her mind racing with the implications. How could they hope to establish meaningful communication with beings so fundamentally different from themselves? The Harmonians led them to a vast chamber that seemed to be the heart of the station. Here, hundreds of the alien beings floated in a complex, three-dimensional dance. As the humans entered, the dance slowed, and all eyes turned to them. One Harmonian, larger than the rest and shimmering with a rainbow of colors, approached them. The translator crackled to life once more. "I am Symphonia, conductor of the Nexus." The being's melodic tones were rendered into halting English. "Your presence disrupts the great song. Why have you come to our harmony?" Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "We are explorers, Symphonia. We seek to learn about the universe and the beings who inhabit it. We hope to share knowledge and establish peaceful relations with other intelligent life forms." Symphonia's body rippled, colors swirling in patterns that the humans couldn't begin to decipher. Knowledge is a discord in the song. Peace is silence between melodies. How can we harmonize? The concept seemed to confuse the Harmonian leader, and Ilara realized with a sinking feeling that their fundamental ways of thinking might be too different to bridge easily. Suddenly, Lieutenant Patel gasped. He was staring at his tricorder, his dark eyes wide with amazement. "Captain, you need to see this," he said, handing the device to Ilara. As she looked at the readings, Ilara felt her jaw drop. The entire station was alive, a single massive organism that housed the Harmonians within its body. The music they had been hearing wasn't just a form of communication, it was the very essence of their existence. "Symphonia," Ilara said, her mind racing to find a way to express their situation in terms the aliens might understand. "Our song is different from yours, but perhaps together we can create a new melody, one that encompasses both our harmonies." The Harmonian leader's colors shifted rapidly, its body undulating in what might have been surprise or interest. A new song. This concept intrigues. How would solid beings contribute to the Great Symphony? Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, an idea forming. She pulled out a small music player from her pack and selected a piece of classical music, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. As the powerful notes filled the chamber, the Harmonians' movements changed, their bodies swaying in time with the unfamiliar rhythms. "This is music from our world," Ilara explained as the alien beings listened in what appeared to be rapt attention. "It tells a story of joy, of brotherhood among all beings. Perhaps this can be the beginning of our shared song." Symphonia's colors blazed brightly, its body elongating as it absorbed the music. "Your song has power. We feel new rhythms. Perhaps there is harmony to be found." For the next several hours, the humans shared more music from Earth, while the Harmonians responded with their own sonic creations. Slowly, haltingly, a form of communication began to emerge. The universal translator, fed with this new data, began to function more smoothly, allowing for more complex exchanges. As the impromptu concert concluded, Symphonia approached Ilara once more. "We have misconceived you, solid ones. Your songs carried depths we did not imagine. We would learn more." Ilara smiled, relief washing over her. "And we would love to learn more about you and your incredible living station. Perhaps we can arrange a cultural exchange. Some of your people could visit our ship, while a few of my crew remain here to study your ways." Symphonia's colors rippled in what Ilara was beginning to recognize as agreement. "Yes, an exchange of harmonies, but be warned, solid ones. Our ways are not yours. There may be discord." "We understand," Ilara nodded. "But it's through working out these discords that we'll create a truly beautiful symphony together." As arrangements were made for the exchange, Ilara couldn't help but feel a sense of profound awe. They had come seeking new life and new civilizations, but the reality of it was more incredible than they could have ever imagined. The universe, it seemed, was far stranger and more wonderful than humanity had dared to dream. Back on the horizon, Ilara sat in her ready room, composing her log entry. "Captain's log, stardate 215703.15. Today, humanity has taken its first steps into a larger universe. Our encounter with the Harmonians has opened our eyes to possibilities we never considered. As we prepare for this cultural exchange, I'm filled with both excitement and trepidation. The road ahead will not be easy. Our differences are profound and numerous. But I believe that our shared curiosity and willingness to learn from one another will see us through. As we face this new chapter in human history, I'm reminded of the words of the ancient Earth philosopher Aristotle: "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." Perhaps in joining our song with that of the Harmonians, we'll create a harmony greater than either of us could achieve alone. She paused the recording, looking out at the stars beyond her viewport. The Harmonian station pulsed gently in the distance, a reminder of the incredible journey that lay ahead. With a deep breath, Elara stood. It was time to prepare her crew for the challenges and wonders that awaited them in this brave new universe. As she left her ready room, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Somewhere out there, countless other civilizations were waiting to be discovered, each with their own unique songs to add to the cosmic symphony. Humanity had taken its first steps into a vast alien galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same again. Learning to communicate. The days following first contact with the Harmonians were a whirlwind of activity aboard the Horizon. Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked tirelessly with her team to refine the universal translator, incorporating the musical and chromatic elements of Harmonian communication. Meanwhile, Chief Engineer Zhou Chen prepared the ship for its alien visitors, ensuring all systems were compatible with the Harmonians' unique physiology. Captain Elara Jensen stood in the newly prepared guest quarters, surveying the room with a critical eye. The standard furnishings had been removed, replaced by a shallow pool filled with a nutrient-rich solution that the Harmonians could comfortably inhabit. The walls were lined with sound-sensitive panels that would allow their guests to speak by manipulating vibrations in the air. "Do you think this will suffice, Doctor?" Elara asked, turning to Dr. Tanaka. The xenolinguist nodded, her eyes bright with excitement. "It's our best approximation based on what we've learned so far. The real test will be when our guests arrive." As if on cue, Lieutenant Patel's voice came over the comm system. "Captain, the Harmonian delegation is ready to board." "Acknowledged," Elara replied. "We're on our way to the airlock." The senior staff assembled to greet their visitors. As the airlock cycled open, 3 Harmonians flowed into the corridor, their bodies undulating in mesmerizing patterns. The lead Harmonian, its body shimmering with hues of blue and green, approached Elara. "Greetings, Captain Jensen." The translator rendered its melodic tones into words. "I am Crescendo, lead researcher of the Nexus. These are my assistants, Area and Cadence." Elara bowed slightly, a gesture they had learned the Harmonians appreciated. "Welcome aboard the Horizon, Crescendo. We're honored to have you with us." As they led the Harmonians to their quarters, Elara couldn't help but notice the aliens' reactions to their surroundings. They seemed fascinated by the solid, unchanging nature of the ship, their colors shifting rapidly as they took in every detail. Once in their quarters, the Harmonians flowed into the pool, their bodies visibly relaxing as they submerged. Crescendo's voice filled the room, the translator working smoothly now. "Your accommodation is most thoughtful, Captain. We look forward to learning your ways." Over the next few weeks, the cultural exchange progressed with both excitement and challenges. The humans learned that the Harmonians perceive the world primarily through vibrations and electromagnetic fields, their bodies acting as living sensors. This made many human technologies bewildering to them, while their own organic technology seemed like magic to the Horizon's crew. Dr. Tanaka spent hours each day with the Harmonians, gradually building a more comprehensive language database. She discovered that their language was not just communication, but a fundamental part of their biology. The Harmonians literally shaped their world through song, their music capable of manipulating matter at a subatomic level. One day, as Elara was reviewing reports in her ready room, Dr. Tanaka burst in, her face flushed with excitement. "Captain, you won't believe what I've just learned," she exclaimed. "The Harmonians' ship, no, their entire station, it's not just alive, it's part of them. They grew it from themselves, like a coral reef, and they can regrow or reshape any part of it at will." Elara leaned back in her chair, stunned. "That's incredible. The implications for space travel, for colonization, it's mind-boggling." "There's more," Tanaka continued. "They've expressed interest in teaching us some of their techniques. They believe that with practice, even we solid ones might learn to manipulate matter through sound." The potential of such knowledge was enormous, but Elara felt a twinge of caution. Have they mentioned what they hope to gain from us in return? Tanaka's excitement dimmed slightly. They're fascinated by our diversity. The concept of individuals with distinct thoughts and personalities is foreign to them. They've asked to study our brains. Ilara frowned. Study how, exactly? Non-invasively, Tanaka assured her quickly. They use a form of sonic imaging, but they've requested volunteers to undergo deep meditation while well, the closest translation is sing to your neurons. Before Ilara could respond, the ship's alert system blared to life. Lieutenant Purtell's voice came over the comm, tense and urgent. Captain, to the bridge immediately. Ilara and Tanaka rushed to the bridge, finding the crew in a state of barely controlled panic. On the main view screen, a massive dark shape was approaching the Harmonian station. Report, Ilara barked, sliding into her command chair. Patel's fingers flew over his console. Unknown vessel appeared out of nowhere, Captain. It's not responding to hails, and it's putting out some kind of interference that's affecting our sensors. Crescendo flowed onto the bridge, its body pulsing with agitated colors. The discordant ones, it hummed, the translator struggling to keep up. Ancient enemy, seekers of silence, destroyers of song. Ilara turned to the Harmonian. You know these beings. Are they hostile? Crescendo's colors darkened. They seek to end all music, to impose eternal silence on the galaxy. They have hunted us, across the stars for eons. The implications hit Ilara like a physical blow. This wasn't just first contact anymore. They were witnessing the continuation of an ancient conflict, one that humanity was now inadvertently part of. Red alert, Ilara commanded. Shields up, weapons on standby. Hail the alien vessel. The view screen remained dark, but a harsh, grating sound filled the bridge. The humans winced, covering their ears, while Crescendo's body convulsed in what seemed to be pain. That is their response, Crescendo managed. A promise of silence. Ilara's mind raced. They were outgunned, facing an unknown enemy with technology far beyond their own. But they couldn't just stand by and watch the Harmonians be destroyed. Crescendo, she said, turning to the alien. You said your people can manipulate matter through song. Is there any way you could use that to defend against this attack? The Harmonian's colors swirled thoughtfully. Perhaps, but our song alone may not be strong enough. An idea struck Ilara. What if it wasn't just your song? What if we added our voices to yours? Crescendo's body brightened. A fusion of harmonies. It has never been attempted, but it may be our only hope. Ilara nodded decisively. All right, let's do it. All hands, this is the captain. I need every crew member who can carry a tune to report to the main shuttle bay immediately. We're going to sing for our lives. As the crew scrambled to comply, Ilara couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of the situation. Humanity's first interstellar war might be won not with advanced weapons, but with a song. The shuttle bay quickly filled with crew members, their faces a mix of confusion and determination. The Harmonians positioned themselves at the center, their bodies already beginning to pulse with building energy. Dr. Tanaka rushed in, clutching a datapad. I've prepared a simple melody that should complement the Harmonians' tones, she explained breathlessly. It's based on mathematical harmonics that seem to resonate with their physiology. Ilara nodded, taking a deep breath. All right, people. I know this sounds crazy, but right now, we're all that stands between the Harmonians and annihilation. So let's raise our voices and show these discordant ones what harmony really means. As the discordant ship loomed ever closer, its weapons charging for a devastating attack, an extraordinary sound began to emanate from the horizon. Human voices, hundreds strong, joined with the ethereal tones of the Harmonians in a swelling chorus that seemed to make the very air vibrate. On the bridge, Lieutenant Patel watched in awe as the sound waves from the shuttle bay began to interact with the space around the ship. Captain, he called over the comm, you're not going to believe this, but I think it's working. Indeed, a shimmering barrier of pure energy was forming around both the horizon and the Harmonian station, the combined harmonies of two vastly different species weaving together to create something entirely new. As the discordant ship fired its primary weapon, the energy dissipated harmlessly against the sonic shield. The alien vessel paused, seemingly confused by this unexpected defense. In the shuttle bay, Ilara sang until her throat was raw, feeling the power of the music coursing through her. Beside her, Crescendo's body glowed with an intensity she had never seen before, its song intertwining with the human chorus in ways that defied understanding. Suddenly, the discordant ship began to retreat, unable to penetrate the harmonic barrier. As it disappeared into the depths of space, a cheer went up from the human crew, while the Harmonians pulsed with colors of joy and relief. Crescendo approached Ilara, its body shimmering with what she now recognized as deep emotion. "Captain," it hummed, "you and your crew have done the impossible. You have shown us that true harmony can arise from diversity. We are forever in your debt." Ilara smiled, her voice hoarse but her heart full. "That's what exploration is all about, Crescendo. Finding new ways to connect, to understand each other. Today, we've proven that even the most different of species can come together to create something beautiful." As the excitement died down and the crew returned to their posts, Ilara couldn't help but feel that they had just witnessed the birth of something profound. In combining their voices with the Harmonians, they had not only defeated a powerful enemy, but had also forged a bond that transcended the boundaries of biology and culture. The universe, it seemed, was full of songs waiting to be sung, and humanity, with its insatiable curiosity and adaptability, was ready to add its voice to the cosmic chorus. Crisis and cooperation. In the weeks following the encounter with the discordant ones, an air of cautious optimism permeated the horizon. The successful defense against an advanced alien threat had boosted morale, but it had also raised countless new questions. Captain Ilara Jensen found herself navigating increasingly complex waters as the cultural exchange with the Harmonians deepened. One morning, as Ilara sipped her coffee in the mess hall, Chief Engineer Zhou Chen approached her table, looking both excited and apprehensive. "Captain, do you have a moment?" Chen asked, clutching a datapad. Ilara gestured to the empty seat across from her. "Of course, Chief. What's on your mind?" Chen sat down, her eyes bright with the fervor of scientific discovery. "I've been working with Crescendo and the other Harmonians to understand their bioorganic technology. It's revolutionary, Captain. The potential applications are staggering." Ilara leaned forward, intrigued. "Go on." "Their entire station is essentially a living organism," Chen explained, her words tumbling out rapidly. "It can heal itself, adapt to new environments, even grow new sections as needed. If we could apply even a fraction of this technology to our own ships, we could explore further than we ever dreamed." Ilara finished, her mind racing with the possibilities. Chen nodded eagerly. "Exactly. But there's a catch." Her expression grew more serious. "The technology is intrinsically linked to Harmonian biology. To truly harness it, we'd need to integrate it with living human tissue." Ilara felt a chill run down her spine. "You're talking about cybernetic enhancement." "More than that," Chen said softly. "We'd be blurring the line between human and machine, between individual and collective. The ethical implications are significant." Before Ilara could respond, the ship's alert system blared to life. Lieutenant Patel's voice came over the comm, tense and urgent. "Captain, to the bridge immediately. We have a situation with the Harmonian station." Ilara and Chen exchanged a worried glance before rushing to the bridge. As they entered, they were met with a scene of controlled chaos. On the main view screen, the Harmonian station was visibly distressed, its usually smooth surface roiling with angry-looking protrusions. "Report," Ilara barked, sliding into her command chair. Patel's fingers flew over his console. The station started exhibiting these changes about 10 minutes ago, Captain. We're detecting massive energy fluctuations and what appear to be internal explosions. Crescendo flowed onto the bridge, its body pulsing with agitated colors. Captain, it hummed, the translator struggling to keep up with its rapid tones. Our home is sick. A discordant note has infected our collective song. We cannot control it. Ilara's mind raced. Is this some kind of delayed attack from the discordant ones? Crescendo's colors darkened. No, this is internal. A mutation in our collective consciousness. It spreads, like a virus through our song. Dr. Tanaka, who had been quietly monitoring the situation, spoke up. Captain, if I'm interpreting this correctly, it's almost like a form of mental illness, but on a massive collective scale. Ilara nodded grimly. And with their consciousness directly linked to their technology. The entire station is having a psychotic break, Chen finished, her face pale. The implications were staggering. Thousands of Harmonian lives were at risk, not to mention the potential danger to the horizon if the station's erratic behavior escalated. Crescendo, Ilara said, turning to the alien, is there anything we can do to help? The Harmonian's body rippled with what Ilara had come to recognize as deep distress. Our songs are no longer in harmony. We cannot reach the infected parts of our collective, but perhaps your alien melodies could penetrate where ours cannot. An idea began to form in Ilara's mind. Dr. Tanaka, you've been studying the Harmonian language and its effects on their biology. Is there any way we could use that knowledge to create some kind of sonic treatment? Tanaka's eyes widened. It's possible, but it would be incredibly risky. We'd essentially be attempting to reprogram the consciousness of an entire species. And we'd need a way to transmit it throughout the station, Chen added. Our communications array isn't nearly powerful enough. Ilara stood, her decision made. Then we'll have to go inside. Crescendo, can you guide a small team to the central core of your station? The Harmonian's colors swirled with a mix of hope and apprehension. Yes, but the journey will be perilous. Our home's defenses may view you as invaders. Understood, Ilara nodded. Dr. Tanaka, Chief Chen, you're with me. Lieutenant Patel, you have the bridge. Prepare a shuttle for immediate launch. As the team rushed to prepare, Ilara couldn't shake a feeling of déjà vu. Once again, they were venturing into the unknown, risking everything on the power of harmony between species. The shuttle ride to the Harmonian station was tense, the organic structure's surface roiling with angry-looking protrusions. As they approached a docking port, tendrils of living material lashed out, forcing Chen to execute a series of evasive maneuvers. It's like the station is actively trying to repel us, Chen muttered, her hands dancing over the controls. Once inside, the situation was even more chaotic. The corridors, usually smooth and pulsing with gentle light, were now twisted and dark. Discordant notes echoed through the air, making the humans wince in discomfort. Crescendo led the way, its body glowing faintly to illuminate the path. The core is not far, it hummed. But we must hurry. The discord spreads quickly. As they navigated the shifting corridors, they encountered groups of disoriented Harmonians, their bodies flickering with distressed colors. Some lashed out in confusion, forcing the team to dodge and weave. It's like they don't recognize us, Tanaka observed, her voice tight with concern. The infection has clouded their perception, Crescendo explained sadly. They see only threats. Finally, they reached the central core of the station. It was a vast, spherical chamber, pulsing with chaotic energy. At its center floated what looked like a giant, crystalline brain, crackling with discordant lightning. The heart of our collective consciousness, Crescendo hummed. Now corrupted. Chen immediately set to work, interfacing their equipment with the Harmonian systems. I think I can rig up a way to broadcast throughout the station from here, she said, her fingers flying over her datapad. But what are we going to broadcast? All eyes turned to Dr. Tanaka. The xenolinguist took a deep breath, steeling herself. I've been analyzing the harmonic patterns of healthy harmonian communication. If we can generate a countering frequency to the discordant notes, we might be able to reset their collective consciousness. Like rebooting a computer, Ilara mused. But we're talking about living beings here. Are you sure this is safe? Tanaka shook her head. Honestly, Captain, I'm not sure of anything. This is so far beyond our current understanding, but it may be their only chance. Ilara nodded grimly. Then we have to try. Crescendo, we'll need your help to fine-tune the frequencies. As Chen and Tanaka worked feverishly to set up their makeshift sonic transmitter, the situation around them deteriorated rapidly. The walls of the chamber began to pulse aggressively, and more confused harmonians voted in, their bodies crackling with chaotic energy. We're losing them, Captain, Crescendo hummed urgently. The discord is overwhelming our song. Almost there, Chen called out, making a final adjustment. Dr. Tanaka, it's now or never. Tanaka took a deep breath and activated the transmitter. A pure, crystalline tone filled the air, building in complexity as it mixed with Crescendo's own song. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The chaotic energy in the chamber began to stabilize, the discordant notes gradually aligning with the new harmony. The crystalline brain at the center pulsed in rhythm with the sound, its erratic lightning fading. Around them, the confused harmonians began to still, their colors shifting from agitated hues to calmer tones. Slowly, a new song began to build, as more and more harmonians added their voices to the healing melody. Ilara watched in awe as the transformation spread throughout the station, the twisted corridors smoothed out, the angry protrusions receding. It was as if the entire structure was taking a deep, cleansing breath. After what seemed like hours, the song finally faded to a gentle hum. Crescendo turned to the human team, its body glowing with gratitude. You have saved us, it hummed. Your alien harmony has purified our song. Ilara smiled, feeling a profound sense of accomplishment. That's what friends do, Crescendo. We help each other in times of need. As they made their way back to the shuttle, the station now calm and welcoming, Ilara couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey they had embarked upon. They had come seeking new life and new civilizations, but they had found so much more. They had discovered the power of harmony, the strength that comes from embracing diversity rather than fearing it. Back on the horizon, as Ilara prepared her report for Starfleet Command, she knew that this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders, but also dangers. Yet she was more convinced than ever that humanity's greatest strength lay in its ability to adapt, to learn, and to form bonds across the barriers of biology and culture. The Harmonians had taught them the power of song, of unity in diversity. And as the horizon prepared to continue its journey into the unknown, Ilara knew that this lesson would serve them well in the adventures to come. The human touch. In the months following the crisis on the Harmonian station, a new equilibrium began to emerge. The horizon had become a hub of interspecies cooperation, with human and Harmonian scientists working side by side to unlock the secrets of the universe. However, as Captain Ilara Jensen was about to discover, their greatest challenge lay not in the stars, but in the hearts and minds of their own crews. It began with a seemingly innocuous request from Aria, one of the Harmonian researchers. Captain Jensen, the alien's melodious tones translated through the comm system. I wish to experience human living quarters. Ilara raised an eyebrow, intrigued. Of course, Aria. I can arrange a tour for you if you'd like. No, Aria's colors shifted in what Ilara had come to recognize as embarrassment. I wish to inhabit them, to live as a human does. The request caught Ilara off guard. The Harmonians had always seemed content in their specialized aquatic quarters. May I ask why? She inquired gently. Aria's form rippled. To understand the human perspective. Your species fascinates us, your individuality, your solid form. We wish to know you better. Ilara considered the request carefully. On one hand, it could lead to unprecedented insights into human harmony and relations. On the other, the physiological differences pose significant challenges. Let me discuss this with my senior staff, Ilara said finally. We'll need to ensure we can meet your biological needs while providing an authentic experience. The senior staff meeting that followed was one of the most animated Ilara had ever presided over. Dr. Tanaka was enthusiastic. This could revolutionize our understanding of Harmonian psychology, if they can experience individuality firsthand. But at what cost? Lieutenant Commander Marcus Lee, the ship's security chief, interjected. We're talking about fundamentally altering their way of existence. Are we prepared for the consequences? Chief Engineer Chen rubbed her temples. The technical challenges alone are staggering. We need to create some kind of containment suit that mimics human biological functions while maintaining their aquatic environment. Ilara listened to the debate, weighing each perspective carefully. Finally, she held up a hand for silence. I understand the risks, she said slowly, but we can't ignore the potential benefits. This kind of cultural exchange is exactly why we're out here. Let's make it happen. Over the next few weeks, the horizon buzzed with activity as preparations were made. Chen and her engineering team worked around the clock to create a specialized biosuit that would allow Aria to move and interact in a humanoid form while maintaining its aquatic physiology. Dr. Tanaka and her xenobiology team developed a comprehensive human life experience program designed to introduce Aria to various aspects of human culture and daily life. Finally, the day arrived. Aria, encased in the sleek humanoid biosuit, took its first steps into a standard crew quarter. Ilara watched with a mixture of anticipation and anxiety as the Harmonian explorer moved tentatively around the room. How does it feel? Ilara asked softly. Aria's response came through the suit's speaker system, the musical tones translated into words. Strange, constraining, but exhilarating. Is this how you always feel? Ilara smiled. In a way, yes. We're used to being confined to our bodies. Over the next few days, Aria immersed itself in human life. It attended crew meals in the mess hall, participated in recreation activities, and even took a shift on the bridge, under close supervision. The Harmonian's unique perspective led to fascinating insights and no small amount of humorous misunderstandings. But as the experiment progressed, unforeseen complications arose. Aria began to exhibit signs of distress, its normally melodious tones becoming discordant and erratic. I feel fragmented, Aria confessed to Dr. Tanaka during a checkup. The silence in my mind, it's deafening. How do you bear it? Tanaka frowned, concern etching her features. Silence. Can you elaborate? The absence of the collective, Aria's form rippled within the biosuit. I am alone, cut off. It's terrifying. The revelation sent shockwaves through the senior staff. They had underestimated the psychological impact of individuality on a being accustomed to constant collective consciousness. We need to terminate the experiment, Lee argued during an emergency meeting. The risk to Aria's mental health is too great. But Ilara wasn't ready to give up. Aria chose this, she reminded them. And this isolation, this silence as it calls it, is a fundamental part of the human experience. If we end things now, we'll have learned nothing. So what do you propose? Chen asked, her tone skeptical. Ilara leaned forward, her eyes bright with determination. We show Aria how humans cope with individuality, how we form connections, build relationships, create our own kind of collective. And so began a new phase of the experiment. Crew members were encouraged to interact more closely with Aria, sharing their personal experiences of friendship, love, and community. Ilara herself spent hours with the Harmonian, discussing the complexities of human emotions and relationships. Slowly, Aria began to adapt. Its distress lessened as it formed bonds with individual crew members, each connection a tiny thread weaving a new kind of collective. One evening, as Ilara and Aria stood in the observation lounge, watching the stars streak by, the Harmonian turned to her. "I think I understand now," it said softly. "Your strength lies not in your individuality alone, but in your ability to choose your connections, to form families beyond biology." Ilara nodded, a lump forming in her throat. "That's it exactly. We're alone in our minds, but we're never truly alone in the universe, not as long as we have each other." As the experiment drew to a close, its impact reverberated throughout both human and Harmonian societies. Aria's experiences, shared with its collective, sparked a revolution in Harmonian thought. Many began to explore the concept of individual identity within their collective consciousness, leading to a flowering of creativity and innovation. For the humans, Aria's struggle with isolation led to a deeper appreciation of their own interconnectedness. Crew members found themselves forming closer bonds, more aware of the invisible threads that tied them together. In her final report to Starfleet Command, Ilara reflected on the profound changes she had witnessed. In seeking to understand each other, she wrote, "We have come to understand ourselves more deeply. The Harmonians have shown us the power of collective consciousness, while we have shown them the strength that can be found in individual connections. Together, we are forging a new kind of harmony, one that celebrates both unity and diversity." As the horizon continued its journey through the stars, Ilara couldn't help but feel that they were on the cusp of something truly revolutionary. They had set out to explore strange new worlds, but in the process, they were creating a new world of their own, a bridge between species, a harmony of differences. The universe, vast and mysterious as it was, suddenly seemed a little less lonely. And in that realization, Ilara found hope for the future of both their species and for all the undiscovered civilizations waiting among the stars. Facing the threat together, the Horizon had been traversing the uncharted regions of space for several months since the groundbreaking cultural exchange with the Harmonians. The crew, both human and Harmonian, had settled into a new rhythm, their collaborative efforts yielding remarkable scientific discoveries. However, the peace they had found was about to be shattered in ways none of them could have anticipated. It began with a distress call. Captain Ilara Jensen was in her ready room, reviewing reports, when Lieutenant Patel's urgent voice came over the comm. "Captain, to the bridge, immediately. We're picking up a distress signal. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Ilara rushed to the bridge, her heart racing. As she entered, she was met with a scene of controlled chaos. On the main view screen, a swirling vortex of energy pulsed ominously. "Report," she barked, sliding into her command chair. Petal's fingers flew over his console. "The distress call seems to be coming from within that anomaly, Captain. But the signal itself, it's not just audio or visual. It's everything. Data, emotions, sensory information, it's overwhelming our systems." Crescendo, who had taken to spending time on the bridge to learn human command structures, flowed forward. Its colors pulsed with agitation. "Captain," it hummed, "this signal, it resonates with our collective consciousness. It's calling to us." Ilara frowned. "Can you make sense of it?" The Harmonian's form rippled. "It speaks of great danger, a threat to all conscious life in the galaxy, but also hope, a plea for help from kindred minds." Before Ilara could respond, the ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared as systems began to fluctuate wildly. "The anomaly is expanding," Chen called out from her engineering station. "It's pulling us in." Ilara gripped her chair. "Full reverse thrusters. Get us out of here." But it was too late. The Horizon, along with the accompanying Harmonian vessels, was dragged inexorably into the swirling vortex. For a moment, reality itself seemed to bend and twist around them. Then suddenly, they were somewhere else. As the viewscreen cleared, A collective gasp went up from the bridge crew. They were in orbit around a planet unlike anything they had ever seen. Its surface was a constantly shifting mosaic of energy patterns, like a living planetary-scale computer. "Where are we?" Ilara whispered, awe and apprehension warring in her voice. Before anyone could answer, a new presence made itself known. It wasn't a voice, nor a visual image, but a direct impression in their minds. It spoke of ancient civilizations, of a war against entropy itself, and of a last, desperate gambit to preserve consciousness in the face of universal heat death. As the alien consciousness unfolded its story, Ilara and her crew learned of the Synthetica, a coalition of synthetic and organic intelligences that had transcended physical form. They had created this pocket universe, this preserve of pure thought and energy, as a bastion against the eventual decay of the physical universe. But now they faced a threat they couldn't overcome alone. The discordant ones, those ancient enemies of harmony and life, had found a way to breach their sanctuary. The Synthetica needed help. The unique combination of organic creativity and technological advancement that the Human Harmonian Alliance represented. As the alien presence withdrew, leaving the crew reeling from the influx of information, Ilara found herself facing the greatest challenge of her career. They were being asked to join a war beyond their comprehension, to defend a civilization so advanced it appeared godlike. "Opinions?" she asked, looking around at her senior staff. Dr. Tanaka spoke first, her voice trembling with excitement and fear. "Captain, the scientific opportunities here are beyond imagination. We could learn more in a day here than we would in a century of normal exploration." "But at what cost?" Lieutenant Commander Lee countered. "We're talking about engaging in a war we know nothing about, against an enemy that nearly destroyed the Harmonians. We're not prepared for this." Crescendo's colors swirled thoughtfully. "And yet, we must. The discordant ones threaten not just the Synthetica, but all life, all consciousness. If they are not stopped here," Ilara nodded grimly, "they'll eventually make their way to our universe. We've been brought here for a reason. We can't turn our backs on this." Over the next few days, the crew of the Horizon worked tirelessly to integrate their systems with the Synthetica's energy-based technology. It was a merger of the physical and the metaphysical, pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. The Harmonians, with their natural affinity for energy manipulation, acted as bridges between the humans and the Synthetica. Together, they began to unlock new potentials in both organic and technological systems. Ilara found herself in strategy sessions unlike any she had ever experienced. The Synthetica commanders existed as pure thought, their tactics unfolding in multiple dimensions simultaneously. It was overwhelming, but exhilarating. As they prepared for the coming battle, Ilara couldn't help but reflect on the journey that had brought them here. They had set out to explore strange new worlds, and now found themselves defending the very fabric of consciousness itself. The day of reckoning arrived all too soon. The discordant ones breached the barriers of the pocket universe, their ships like wounds in reality itself. The battle that ensued defied description. Energy weapons that altered the laws of physics, shields made of crystallized time, and maneuvers that bent space itself. The Horizon and its Harmonian allies fought valiantly, their unique blend of technologies and techniques catching the discordant ones off guard. Ilara watched in awe as Crescendo led a squad of Harmonians in a harmonic attack that unraveled an entire enemy fleet. But the true turning point came when Dr. Tanaka, working with the Synthetica scientists, made a breakthrough. They found a way to use the human concept of music, the organization of sound in time, to create a weapon against the discordant one's chaos. As the battle reached its crescendo, the Allied fleet unleashed a symphony of destruction, a harmony so perfect it shattered the very being of their enemy. The discordant ones, faced with a unity they could not comprehend, were forced to retreat. In the aftermath of the battle, as the Horizon's crew tended to their wounds and repaired their systems, Ilara stood in the observation lounge, gazing out at the energy-wreathed planet below. Crescendo flowed up beside her, its colors a soft, contemplative blue. "We have witnessed the birth of something new today," the harmonian hummed softly. Ilara nodded, a small smile playing on her lips. A harmony of organic and synthetic, of physical and energy-based life, a new kind of civilization. As they stood there, watching the swirling patterns of the Synthetica's world, Ilara knew that the universe would never be the same. They had faced a threat beyond imagination and emerged victorious, not through superior firepower, but through the power of cooperation, of finding harmony in diversity. The journey home would be long, and the task of explaining what they had experienced to Starfleet Command would be challenging. But Ilara knew that they had been part of something truly extraordinary, a glimpse of the cosmic symphony in which all conscious beings played a part. As the Horizon prepared to return to their own universe, Ilara couldn't help but feel a sense of anticipation. They had learned so much, grown in ways they never thought possible. And out there, among the stars, countless other wonders and challenges awaited. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. A new galactic family. The return journey from the Synthetica's pocket universe was not as instantaneous as their arrival had been. As the Horizon and its Harmonian allies traversed the vast distances of space, Captain Ilara Jensen found herself grappling with the monumental task of preparing her crew, and herself, for reintegration into the world they had left behind. The experiences they had shared in that other realm had changed them all profoundly. How could they explain to Starfleet Command the transcendent battle they had fought, the merging of minds and technologies beyond current human understanding? More importantly, how could they convey the vital importance of the bonds they had forged? As Ilara sat in her ready room, composing what felt like her 100th attempt at a mission report, her door chimed. "Enter," she called, grateful for the distraction. Dr. Yuki Tanaka walked in, her eyes bright with the fervor of scientific discovery that had become her constant state since their return. "Captain," she began, barely containing her excitement, "I've been analyzing the data we brought back from the Synthetica, and I think we've only scratched the surface of what's possible." Ilara leaned back in her chair, a small smile playing on her lips. "Go on, Doctor." Tanaka launched into an explanation that, just a few months ago, would have sounded like pure science fiction. She spoke of consciousnesses that could inhabit multiple forms simultaneously, of technologies that blurred the line between the physical and the metaphysical, of ways to communicate across vast distances instantaneously through quantum entanglement of thoughts. As Tanaka taught, Ilara felt a familiar mix of exhilaration and apprehension. The potential was staggering, but so were the implications. Humanity was on the brink of an evolutionary leap, and they were the ones who would have to guide that transition. Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent call from the bridge. "Captain," Lieutenant Patel's voice came over the comm, tense with suppressed excitement, "we're picking up a transmission from Earth." Ilara and Tanaka exchanged a look of surprise before rushing to the bridge. As they entered, the main view screen flickered to life, revealing the face of Admiral Hiroshi Yamamoto, head of Starfleet Command. "Captain Jensen," the Admiral began, his voice grave, "we've received your preliminary reports. To say they've caused a stir would be an understatement. The Federation Council is concerned about the implications of your encounters." Ilara straightened, preparing herself for the challenge ahead. "Admiral, I understand the concerns, but what we've discovered is potentially the greatest leap forward in human history," Yamamoto finished, a glimmer of something like awe in his eyes. "Or the greatest threat we've ever faced. The Council is divided. Some see opportunity, others see danger. But all agree on one thing: we need to know more." Over the next few hours, Ilara and her senior staff briefed the Admiral and, by extension, the Federation Council on their experiences. They spoke of the Harmonians and the power of their collective consciousness, of the Synthetica and their transcendent civilization, of the discordant ones and the existential threat they posed. As they talked, Ilara could see the impact their words were having. The Admiral's expression shifted from skepticism to wonder to determination. "Captain," Yamamoto said as the briefing concluded, "the Federation Council has made a decision. We're initiating a new program, effective immediately. Project Harmony." Ilara leaned forward, intrigued. "Sir, your mission, Captain Jensen, is to continue your exploration, but with a new focus. You're to seek out civilizations like the Harmonians and the Synthetica, to learn from them, and to begin the process of integrating humanity into this galactic community you've discovered." The implications were staggering. It wasn't just about exploration anymore. They were talking about fundamentally reshaping human society, preparing it for a future among the stars that was far grander and more diverse than they had ever imagined. "There will be resistance," Yamamoto warned. "Fear, suspicion. Not everyone will be ready for this change. Your job is not just to explore, but to help humanity understand and adapt to this new reality." Ilara nodded, feeling the weight of the responsibility settling on her shoulders. "We'll do our best, Admiral." As the transmission ended, Ilara turned to her crew. She saw in their eyes the same mix of excitement and apprehension that she felt. They were standing on the brink of a new era, and the path ahead was both thrilling and terrifying. "Well," she said, a smile tugging at her lips, "it looks like our adventure is just beginning." Over the next few years, the Horizon became the flagship of Project Harmony. They traveled to the farthest reaches of known space and beyond, encountering civilizations that challenged their very understanding of life and consciousness. They met the Quantum Collective, beings that existed in a perpetual state of superposition, simultaneously inhabiting multiple realities. The crew learned to perceive multiple timelines, expanding their consciousness in ways they had never thought possible. They encountered the photon dancers, entities of pure light that communicated through intricate dances of color and energy. From them, they learned new forms of art and expression that transcended physical limitations. With each new civilization they met, each new perspective they gained, the crew of the Horizon grew and evolved. They became bridges between worlds, facilitators of a grand galactic exchange of ideas and cultures. But it wasn't always easy. There were misunderstandings, conflicts, moments of fear and doubt. The discordant ones remained a threat, always lurking at the edges of known space, a reminder of the chaos that threatened to unravel the harmony they were building. Through it all, Ilara and her crew persevered. They faced each challenge with a unique blend of human ingenuity, Harmonian unity, and the transcendent perspective they had gained from the Synthetica. As the years passed, Earth and the Federation began to change. Inspired by the reports from the Horizon and other Project Harmony ships, humanity started to embrace its place in the greater galactic community. New technologies emerged, blending the physical and the metaphysical in ways that would have once seemed like magic. The Harmonians, once distant allies, became integral parts of Federation society. Their collective consciousness technology, carefully adapted for human minds, allowed for unprecedented cooperation and understanding between individuals and species. On the 10th anniversary of the launch of Project Harmony, Ilara stood once again in the observation lounge of the Horizon, gazing out at the stars. Beside her stood Crescendo, its colors a warm, contented gold, and Dr. Tanaka, her eyes still bright with the wonder of discovery after all these years. "Did you ever imagine it would turn out like this?" Tanaka asked softly. Ilara shook her head, a smile playing on her lips. "Never in my wildest dreams. We set out to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations. Instead, we found a family." Crescendo's form rippled in agreement, a harmony of infinite diversity. A song that would echo across the cosmos. As they stood there, watching the stars streak by, Ilara felt a profound sense of peace. They had faced unimaginable challenges, confronted the very nature of existence itself, and through it all, they had discovered that the greatest power in the universe was not advanced technology or transcendent consciousness, but the bonds forged between beings of all kinds. They had set out as explorers and become ambassadors, not just for humanity, but for the very idea of unity in diversity. And as they continued their journey into the unknown, Elara knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, as a family, bound not by blood or species, but by the shared song of the cosmos. The adventure, it seemed, would never truly end, and Elara wouldn't have it any other way.